What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Throw Show, Season 3. Trevor? Starting it off with a banger with freaking Sarah Mitton opening up at 1980. Like,
it's insane.
I think 1980 would have gotten third at Outdoor Worlds last year.
Opening up.
And then she's just opening up, hitting a nice solid position in the middle. I think, dude, out of like the women's shot putters, I think she has probably like one of my favorite techniques. I think she's also one of my favorite female throwers, just super consistent. And just always shows up. Like, she's always ready to throw really, really well. So it's like, I don't know what else you can say. It's a Canadian record. It's an indoor world lead, and it's probably gonna be an indoor world lead for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I know Chase, Maggie, Jess Woodard, and Sarah are throwing at the Millrose Games, which is going to be a crazy indoor competition. But to open at 1980 is a pretty big statement. So congrats to Sarah.
I even think this throw looks like a little more controlled than normal, which makes sense for like the first meet of the season. But I'm just thinking get a little more speed through the middle on that maybe, and which she's probably going to do, and
she'll definitely do. That's how she. Yeah. That's where her bread and butter is. And I think too, I've seen her have fouls. I know she's thrown 20, but well over 20 meters last year at Tucson. So it's like that, dude. I think she's got a potential. Dude, she's only 1.20 meters from 21 meters. Like, who knows? Yeah. She goes 20-50. We don't know what's going to happen. She could be one of the top 7 girls. I mean, that's how many girls are throwing so well right now. She's going to be in the discussion for 2024.
Yeah.
At least for 100% a medal, if not, a gold challenger. We should have like a betting pool on the women's side. There's so many good throwers. Yeah, that's exciting. Hayden Tobias. So this is the kid that he was at Maryland, right?
Right, he was there. Okay. He came in with Jeff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's big. 20 meters
is huge.
Congrats.
Yeah, absolutely
Number
huge.
Number 2 in the NCAA.
Number 2 in the NCAA. Multiple guys over 20, and great hair too, by the way.
Yeah.
Where's this at?
Is that Spire? No.
That's not Kent.
No.
It's purple though.
Yeah.
I know they had a meet at Washington this past week, but would they have gone all the way out there? I feel like they wouldn't have.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a good toss.
But big toss.
Big performance.
What do you think about his technique?
I don't like his left arm in the middle. Like, he does a little huggy thing. I do like how he gets around his left and then just attacks the center really, really aggressively, and I think that transfers into his finish.
He gets way up on that toe board too.
Yeah.
The finish.
Yeah, I think that he really
leaves it all out there.
He's using the back of the circle really well. I mean, dude, he's throwing 20 meters. It's one of those, he's got technique and aggressiveness where it's like, if he just keeps doing what he's doing right now and just irons out some things here and there, he's going to throw really, really, really far. Yeah. He's wired, clearly. That finish, I love that finish. It's like just hammers through with that right side.
Yeah.
So I like it. Another 18-meter, 18-11. See, that's where I thought, no, that's not that. So she's at Jorinde is at UW.
Okay.
First comp as a Oregonian, as a duck.
Yeah, I think she's going to be fun to watch. I mean, this is obviously only the beginning.
Will she repeat as indoor national champ, NCAA champ?
I don't know.
Yes.
Maria hasn't opened yet.
No, Maria's not. I don't think Maria's going to throw indoors.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, okay, yeah.
I think she's redshirting. Which she really told me this past week. She really likes it there quite a bit.
Good.
Yeah. What do you think about Jorinde? What is the most consistent thing or simplest thing or something that you like the most out of her movement?
I think she takes it real easy out of the back. Like, she comes over her left foot, like, and I think this is just something, it's consistent. Every single person, every good thrower is doing this now, that they're taking time to get over the left knee out of the back.
Mm-hmm.
Crouser does it. Like, you saw Sarah Mitton do it.
Yep.
Like, it's just easy over the left. Then once a right comes around, attack the middle and get the left quick to the front. But I think, like, you know, everyone thinks like I need to get speed right out of the back, but the only thing that matters is the speed on the finish. So set it up.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you can see that left foot opening and how it like really opens far, and then she stays up on the heel, stays up as she gets that right leg like nice and wide. Mm-hmm. She's just, I mean, this is the other thing. It's like super consistent. I think that's the whole thing with Sarah too. You watch the best women in the world, and it's like Jessica, is it Schilder? Yeah, Schilder from the Netherlands. Like, she's got this very similar movement pattern where it's like it's simple, and I feel like Chase does that to a point where it's like it's not overly crazy. It's the same. Crouser does it. You know, it's the same movement. Tunde does it, where they just nice and easy out of the back, attack the middle, hold the middle position, and then that sets you up for that aggressive finish. But it's just being patient and controlled.
Yeah. One more question for Jorinde. Will she have a better relative shot or disc this year?
Oh, man. 2 years ago was when she went 70 in the disc. Last year, I think she got 4th at Worlds or 5th at Worlds.
That might not be a question.
Well, she threw 19, though. I would bet one interesting thing here that I wanted to bring up. I always thought Maggie should have kept throwing discus because she could make more money professionally, and I think Jorinde is in a similar position that when she would go pro, if she continues to throw shot and disc, either one, like whatever her favorite is, I feel like she probably should continue to throw the other because she could get into more meets and make more money professionally, depending on what the funding situation is from the Netherlands. I think to answer your question, I foresee her probably going closer to 1950, you know, outdoors. She's capable of throwing anywhere from 65 to 70 meters. So I don't know, you know, she could go to Worlds and throw 19 and in the shot. I mean, she could medal on both at Worlds, really. Like, right. So it's like, that's a terrible answer for your question, Trevor. And I don't have an answer. It's really hard.
Non-committal.
I did want to point out, watch her left foot at the front when she holds that finish. That left foot does get pretty flat, and she does a really good job working forward. I think she could go forward a little more, but I have also heard that circle itself can be a little dusty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the one thing I hate about wood circles. I wish there was like a consistent regulatory circle federation.
More federations.
Yeah, 2437 is just absolutely huge. And so wait, this is the dude from what's his first name? And this is so I feel like, can we edit this, please? Isaiah Rogers. Okay. So if we go back, USDA certified. Yeah, I knew he was from Kennesaw, but I wasn't sure of his first name. So this is Isaiah Rogers from Kennesaw going 79.11. And so school record, meet record, fieldhouse record. And I think it's important to note that Danny Haw went there.
Yeah.
So actually you can see Danny's comment, US beef. USDA certified. Big beef. That, you know, he's not breaking a school record held by, you know, Dane Miller. He's breaking a school record held by the second or one of the, you know, top 5 greatest American hammer throwers of all time. Mm-hmm. So that's a huge throw in the weight, and I'm interested to see, like, one, how's he going to transfer in the hammer? outdoors. What's Mike going to do with him? I'm sure he's ripping monster bombs. And then, does that bring up the question, like, are we going to bring in someone else in with the big dogs, the big hammer guys that we are already stacked with in the U.S.? And this is just sort of like the next line. It's sort of crazy. Yeah. And this is something that I did want to bring up too, is that you can never be comfortable because there's so many young kids coming up just pecking at you, just coming. Mm-hmm. They're coming for you all the time. It's like Isaiah Rogers throwing 79-11 and a half. Dude, that's so far. So I'm anxious to see what he does in the hammer.
Yeah.
Ole Miss.
This is crazy.
Jelani Davis and Jasmine Mitchell. 24-13, 23-81. 24-13, 23. Yeah. It's just absolutely wild how consistent Ole Miss, used to be Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois still has good throwers, but now just what the last decade has been like at Ole Miss with the weight throwers and 1-2 in the rankings right now. It's crazy. Is there a video of this?
No.
What do you think the big key is to the weight, Trevor, since you coached women's throws at the Division I level?
What is the main key to the weight?
Mm-hmm.
Gripping and ripping.
Just get strong and angry.
I mean, I think it's, you transfer as much of your hammer technique to the weight as possible. And I think, the bigger girls, guys, the bigger you are, the stronger you are, obviously, the better it's going to go for you if you can maintain like a semblance of technique in the throw.
Does the women's weight translate better to the women's hammer than the men's weight transfers to the men's hammer?
I don't know. I mean, I think, they're both heavier, lighter, respectively. I don't know. I don't really think it would matter too much.
It's a good discussion, though.
Yeah.
Ooh, frick. One of our 3 throwers that has a season mark at 1965 right now. Actually, I wanted to tell you, when you were talking about this, the patience out of the back of the circle, one of the things I've been talking with Eric about is he gets a little antsy and he tends to lead with his right shoulder too much, and then that right shoulder drops in the middle and he gets really long off of his right leg. So then he's really tight at the front of the circle and he can't like keep everything moving as smoothly as he can when he's more patient.
Right.
And Eric's one of those throwers that if he sets up the middle of the circle more effectively and he catches that higher right arm in the middle, and if you think about where Jorinde and Sarah Mitton were on their big throws and what Crouser does in Kovacs, they're very balanced with that left shoulder. And that's where I think Eric could be a little bit more balanced, but I think he's got to have a tighter left leg out of the back to help him use that strength that he has on the finish.
Yeah.
But still, good opener. Good to get back into the rhythm.
Yeah. Then Taman with the same mark.
Taman with the exact same mark. I think what's also ironic with both of them is that they each threw like 1940 like 3 or 4 times as well.
Yeah.
When I actually did a little analysis on some of Taman's throws from this angle, you could sort of see how he sits his left hip back to like way. I mean, I don't think you should do it at all. One thing you had mentioned about was the patience in getting over that left leg, over that left foot. And this is where like Taman's left hip and quad fall behind his left foot. So then his left leg's a little bit late to the front and he's sort of transferring. He's like falling into his left instead of rotating into his left. And then, that's what sort of forces that left leg to bucket. I think actually today he had a pretty good session where we were working on getting over that left leg a little bit more. And I think that's the crazy part with social media is you can see what all the best are doing all the time, and that can help, pull everybody up with their sort of technical acuity.
do think he's doing a drastically better job just comparing this to some of his throws last year of staying over the right foot in the middle and not like completely, pre-shifting into the left foot.
Mm-hmm.
Still does it a little bit maybe, but I think it's a drastic improvement that he's made over the offseason.
The biggest improvement he made was telling me that he was going to listen to me for 6 months.
Wow. That's impressive.
He sent me this video and he's like, #only Dane for 6 months. I was like, yo, what if you throw like 21 meters? But then at the end, then there's a timeline that like the calendar of 6 months is up. He's like, out the window.
But yeah, congrats, new indoor PR. That's big. 1965.
Oh, Crouser throwing outside.
Christmas throws.
This is his Christmas throw. So he's back home in
Does he
Oregon.
have to climb the fence every time? Or that's not him out there. He's got people retrieving for him. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's absolutely, especially when you're an Olympic champ. 100% the way to do it. He had posted one of those, a new video. So it must be his sister or cousin. His cousins and Mitch. Mitch is his cousin, right? Or is that Sam? Sam's his cousin. Haley's his cousin. And then Mitch might be his uncle. Or is that Dean? Gosh, there's so many good Crousers.
Dean is his uncle. Is Mitch's dad? Or is that Brian?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I've got nothing. Every time I've shaken his dad's hand, it's like, hello, Mr. Crouser.
Mr. Crouser, Mr. Crouser, Mr. Crouser.
I'm intimidated by all of you, and I don't know what else to call you. Bye. I always think this is cool, though, when you see, we throw out in the snow and we throw out in the rain, and it like sort of brag about it and like what it can do to you internally as an athlete. Like I think there is that Rocky-esque, like it can push you a bit more. Mm-hmm. You just feel like you're getting like hardened by the whole process. And I think it's cool to see someone at his level who could be way more comfortable in his training, still go out and do that. And even I'm sure that think about a garage floor. How they're not laying the concrete on a garage floor to have an abrasive surface, so it's probably a really fast circle as well. So it's like, the conditions aren't favorable, but he's still going out and just getting his work done. And I think that's something that everybody could take. I think, again, this is the other thing with Crouser is like he puts his stuff on social media. He shows you what he's working on. He talks about things. Like you have access to his YouTube channel where you can see like some of the drills he might be working on. And it's like that's what those things now that he's putting out are going to impact people 10 years from now, where the next group of kids coming up are going to throw even further because they're able to realize the process. Mm-hmm. The process isn't just throw far. The process is get better, be stagnant, experiment, improve.
Right. There isn't this like exclusive group of people holding on to this like knowledge anymore.
Yes.
It's all accessible. Like it's all out in the open. Like everyone can improve.
Absolutely.
I think that's just a new phase, and I think that's why we're seeing throws blow up so much. Is because it's been going on for the last decade or so.
Yep. Oh, so we did include this. So this is where he said this is a new full variation. So I don't know if it's his. I didn't watch the video yet. I don't know if it's offsetting all of that right side like super deep, or starting with it fully loaded and trying to feel like a stretch shortening cycle when he's fully loaded on his right. I didn't watch, so he does say here, or maybe it's in another post later on. Yeah, it was another post later on. Actually, I think it's a post he just put up today where he talks about what he's working on with this variation.
His bent right, straight, left.
Yep. So I should check that out before I comment, because I think it's one of those things. It's important to test things, to feel different positions, and realize that's the stuff that is going to make you the world record holder. I love watching his left foot here. Watch his left foot. It looks like his left foot is sweeping, and I think that's something that a lot of people sort of ignore, how it just sweeps to the front.
Right. It's not pick up, set down.
The only thing I could complain about is that heel does drop a little, and he's gotten flack from that in the past. See that heel right there a little, but it's like his left leg getting to the front is so good. It's so quick, and that creates more tension through his hip into his trunk, and then that all transfers into the right.
His knee doesn't get over as much.
His left knee?
Yeah, out of the back. If that's just a side effect of, what he's
start,
doing
maybe.
here, or if that's intentional, or, it could just be this individual throw. Still he gets to the front fast.
The only thing I'd also say is watch on that reverse, his right foot on the reverse, sort of because of the way the weight distribution is, it doesn't come forward as well to where his left foot grounds. It's sort of like his left foot's here, his right foot's here, and then it comes over here on the reverse.
Mm-hmm. His weight's falling back a little bit.
Yeah. It's really good technique, though. I think I always wonder.
Unimpressed.
Yeah, I always wonder, outside of, I want to put a challenge out. Who has watched more Ryan Crouser throws than me? Because I bet you on a daily basis, I probably watch his throw at least 50 times.
You need do you think that's an integration into your Apple Watch?
Okay, it's time. And it's just me staring at it. What's he doing here?
Logged.
Yeah.
1,000 Ryan Crouser throws.
It's funny because I have one of the clips from Doha that we have of Joe. I swear it was one of the throws, and Ryan actually was there right before the session, but it's this throw of Joe, and it's like multiple different throws of Crouser that I try to watch and compare the two all day.
Yeah.
So.
All right, we got another one yet. Welcome to the Ryan Crouser Show.
Yeah, 140 kilos. I've seen him snatch 50. His dog doesn't care. Hip snatch, little pump. Good. Okay, here's a good one. Who's got a better
I was going to ask that.
Ryan Crouser or Jaime Perez?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Based off of female to male performance in weightlifting, just strictly weightlifting, who has a better hip snatch?
So how much did Jaime do?
Jaime did 100, and she missed 3.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So in the 87s,
I mean, with this particular lift, I don't know what the most that Crouser's
Crouser's probably done 55 or 60, I bet.
Yeah.
I think I remember Whiting, I don't know if it was from a hang, but I think Whiting's hit 60.
Right.
Sam's
you know what do you think all the internet trolls would call out Ryan Crouser for his hip snatch technique?
No.
Like they call out,
they might because they might not know who he is. Yeah, they might because there might be, ironically, he and Jaime have the same shoes, by the way. They might because they don't know who he is if it's a troll. But it's the same thing with like Eric's 165.
Right.
Like people were still complaining that he split too wide. It's like, dude, it's a 165K snatch. What are you complaining about? Stop. And like with Crouser, it's like, dude, that's a toy. He's toying with 140 kilos. Right. How much more do you think he would need to hip snatch to, like, let's say to throw 2350, everything's equal, but the only thing he needs to improve is his hip snatch. How much more weight?
Well, I don't know what his best is. Like he's saying this is feeling light. So
let's say 55 is his best.
You think that's all he's done?
I mean, it's still pretty heavy. It's 343. You couldn't even clean that. You used to cry about your back all the time.
I know. I'm pretty sure this actually is my back's clean. I don't even know. I don't know even a guess. I would say, but I do think it is a pretty good, transferable lift.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like it. I like high hang
more than others.
Yeah, hip snatch, high hang, $2. I love those lifts.
Yeah.
Do you want me to explain the biomechanics behind why they're such great lifts? Or let's watch Turner Washington instead. We don't need to.
Maybe another time.
I think he looks way better, dude. just dude, let's just Turner just keep throwing shots.
Keep throwing
Just
shots.
Keep throwing it. He does look thicker. Ooh, and like that left side in the middle, it's like a Joe meets Ryan almost.
It's hard to tell too, like if it's just the slow-mo, but it looks like his left knee's like jerking back a little bit out of the back. I don't know if that's just the slow-mo, if that's like.
I'm not really sure. He does always. Okay, so I've brought this up in the past. I want to know, and I don't know if anyone's ever commented. I think he's flat-footed because of how.
Just like in general.
Yeah, I think he's flat-footed because of what his heels tend to do, even on his finish there. And I think that with that left foot a little, I think that might be impacting what you're saying with that left knee.
Like his heel comes down out of the back, his left heel.
One thing that I wanted to point out here is watch his left knee, how super tight it is there, and then think about Crouser's left knee on Crouser's throw with how almost wide
he was
his left
much
knee.
more wider.
So
and that his essentially what's happening, his left hip is already starting to Crouser's left hip is starting to open up.
Right,
where
more.
Turner's is staying closed longer.
Mm-hmm. So then that impacts the grounding position.
Right.
I don't necessarily think one way over the other is. I probably would prefer that Crouser's knee because Joe's pretty similar with.
But if you look at when the left foot does come down, like the hip is open,
and he does transfer well. I like his left arm position there in the middle. He holds it pretty well. That's where I think he's more like Joe.
Right.
He just looks huge.
Yeah, this will be cool to see how he
who are going to be
shapes up this season. Who's going to be challenging him?
Well, has he opened indoors? I guess not, huh? Dude, he's thrown 2170. Like, we forget that. I think it's 2171, something like that. Like, this
and
dude
nowadays, that's like,
he might throw 22 meters this year.
Right. Yeah, it'll be cool to watch.
I love these. Wait, you got to go back. I was just reading one. Maybe we shouldn't go back. These comments. I might not have the best eyes as Coach Ryan Whiting, who's a 2-time world champion and Olympian. He's coached a lot of really good throwers. But
we should be saying the same thing, like talking about it.
Yeah, that's true. I just spent the last. Yeah, I'm so glad you called me on that, Dane. You just spent the last 30 minutes talking about what you think they should be doing. Okay, so Sergey Litvinov Jr. comes out and basically admits to doping and oh my gosh, why can I not think of the movie Icarus? Basically sort of like proves out everything that you see in Icarus and essentially admits to taking Turinabol, which is a potent. I mean, both of these drugs are they're orals, which can just wreak total havoc on your liver. But Turinabol is very potent. Oxandrolone is interesting because it's more of like a drug that does really well with women, but it's also like lean. Like you can get super, super lean on it and not lose any muscle mass. It helps with endurance. He admits to improving almost 2 meters with the doping. My question would be, was he taking anything before he threw that 79 meters that year in February? That would be another question. Are we to believe that he was clean all the way up till February of 12? That's a question that I have, but it's essentially just like this admission to doping in the sport of the hammer throw, especially from the Russians, which is pretty consistent. And then he apologizes and talks about how athletics integrity, he took his case to athletics integrity. So I don't know. How do you feel about that? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I never think we should, I think coming out and, opening up and apologizing, I think should always be encouraged. So, I mean, obviously, and seems like he admits that, what he was doing wasn't good.
Yeah, it wasn't ethically sound.
But, I think there's definitely, I think coming out and saying it is a good thing. And I think obvious, and I don't think I don't know what people are saying, but I don't think you should just attack someone for coming out. I think that's a good thing. But obviously what he was doing wasn't good. And I think he also brings light to the situation that was going on in Russia. And I think that's valuable as well.
I think that's the big,
where it's not, I'm sure he faced an insane amount of pressure.
Yeah. That's the one thing he mentions.
That the pressure he felt was greater than the pressure that, U.S. athletes feel. And so I think, there's a little bit of grace you can give there.
He does talk about how it was essentially a state sponsored, look, you're in our NGB. Mm-hmm. We want you to take this.
Right.
And I know talking with weightlifters that I've worked with directly who've been popped actually at the 2012 Olympics, is you show up into the room to train and you have a bag of stuff that you have to take. So it's it's very, very different from, I think that's the one crazy part with the American system being decentralized. I mean, especially in track and field, is that there's no direct place that you go to where the whole team is there. There's a full federation lead on the coach, and all your training is under their watchful eye. Everybody's got their own coach. Everybody's doing their own thing. And even to the point in other countries, I've talked to Jaime about this, in other countries where it's they'll try to pin the best athletes against each other, to try and cause more chaos and potentially greater results. But one thing she said is in the US here, even she was even when Rudy comes here, he's so happy to see everybody. And she was in Cuba, it would be oh, this is one of the other really good athletes. We don't want him to be here because it's just it can be more of a negative
that's interesting.
threat,
Yeah.
But I think with this case, being that state-sponsored doping situation, it does put the athlete in a really, really tough spot, especially in a country that, I don't know, there's not as much potential opportunity for other jobs to be lucrative,
right? I mean, financially, and when they're providing for you financially, and I think that's kind of where it goes, the state-sponsored, athletics federations are good because they can really fund their athletes well, but in the U.S., athletes get it's a lot harder to find that funding.
True.
But also it's a lot, when something, when you do have a doping scandal, it's not a representative necessarily
of the NGB, of the body.
It's more just of that, rogue faction or whatever.
Yeah. It's finding, it would be if Athletics Canada was perfectly set up with their funding. They have a pretty good system, and I would argue probably better than the U.S. system, and maybe Norway or, some of those other countries. Sweden, I would assume, would probably be a pretty well-funded system without promoting PEDs.
Yeah.
It's finding that. Right. It's finding the very, towing that line of promoting the best competitive situation possible without doing things that are immoral.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's basically everything in life.
If we could all just live like that.
Yeah. All right. This is Sam.
Finishing out.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't put Sam's Sam, when he did this lift, this was crazy. So this is 7 weeks after he had his testicle removed for testicular cancer. He goes 475 for 4. And then right after this, does 405 for 11. And that was his best that he's ever done with 405. And he was even saying, he's like, dude, I think if I didn't do the 475, he thought he could get like 15 to 20. But that 475 was pretty hard.
Yeah, and he died on it. So it's like just failing on a rep. Like that is going to tank your next set.
I think he could probably hit a PR of 520 to 530. Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens. He's in Hawaii right now, and Maddie Denny just was messaging about them having a big comp in Australia, and so he's thinking about heading over there. But he's getting back into pretty good shape, and he's technique-wise. We were playing around with some of the stuff that we did, and I don't know, is the technical analysis of Che, is that up? Yeah, so a lot of the stuff that we talked about in there, I had discussed with Sam specific to the back of the circle. Some of the stuff that Alex tends to do really well that Sam could pick up. He's been doing a good job of like working through those things. So
yeah,
we'll see how his recovery continues. Seems to be doing well though.
Yeah. This is good to see for sure.
All right, so close to episode 2 of season 3 of the Throw Show. Trevor, is there any products we're supposed to plug?
I mean, we've got books, the cues and corrections, kinetic comprehension, the thrower's assessment. We've got courses on spin, on the glide, maybe a third.
Yeah, I like how
just
you're like,
maybe.
Maybe. A very big, the maybe is this big, but it's a maybe.
If you could guess what that third one would be.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Rudy said he might do that podcast.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
And technical analysis and programs. We've got a ton of programs. If you need a training program,
let us know.
And you're a thrower, we are the place to go. So
until next time, peace.